So, Resident Evil 9's trailer just dropped and there is a lot to unpack, and a lot of subtle information that most people probably won't know about. So let's talk about everything we currently know about Resident Evil 9. First things first, the main character's name is Grace Ashcroft, an analyst and a member of the FBI, and her mother's name was Alyssa. This may sound familiar to some of you, and you'd be exactly right in that thinking. Alyssa Ashcroft is a news reporter, and is a playable character in Resident Evil Outbreak File 1 and 2, which are spin-offs of the main series titles and take place during the initial events of Raccoon City, where you play as 8 different characters who are attempting to escape. And by all standards, this game is shaping up to be a direct, although be it very late sequel to Resident Evil Outbreak. Now, while all of the characters are assumed to have escaped the city at the end of the games themselves were never actually confirmed to be canon until Resident Evil 7, which coincidentally has the very same director that RE9 has. In the Baker House, you can pick up a newspaper article written on the 19th of January 2016 by Alyssa, talking about a girl who went missing during a trip to Louisiana, which is a whole year and a half before RE7 takes place. Not only does this single-handedly prove the canonity of Resident Evil Outbreak, and, at the very least, Alyssa escaped, it also means that we know that RE9 takes place sometime after 2016. Now, if we go by Capcom's recent practice of their mainline games taking place in the same year they release, we can assume that RE9 takes place in 2026, meaning that since it's been 8 years since Alyssa was murdered, she must have died at some point in 2018 at the Renwood Hotel, which seems to be one of the main focal points of the game, given that another body has been found and Grace is tasked with analysing the scene. At the beginning of the trailer, we can see Grace typing up a report about a 4th victim of an unidentified disease. Now, we don't know what the disease is, and we have no clues as to what it is realistically, but we can assume that it might be something related to the Raccoon City incident, as that's where we're going to be heading in the game. This now also includes a 5th body that was also found at the Renwood Hotel, which is where Alyssa was murdered. With this information, we can assume that Alyssa was likely murdered back in 2018 for looking into this, although we don't know why or how she ended up there. We actually see a few flashbacks of Alyssa in the trailer itself, which while not directly a callback, is very reminiscent of her specific Outbreak scenario titled Flashback. In these flashbacks, we see her exploring what seems to be the Renwood Hotel, as well as a very quick look at a hooded figure, whom we can only assume is either the cause of Alyssa's death or something to do with it, although we don't know who they are or what their objectives are. As for the hotel itself, we get very small glimpses of it in the trailer, including a hallway that feels very reminiscent of one of the first dog hallways in the first Resident Evil game, as well as a scene of Grace tied upside down in what we can assume to be one of the rooms in the hotel. We also get a glimpse at the potential main antagonist of the game, sitting in a chair facing away from the camera, presumably calling Grace the Chosen One, though we don't know exactly why yet. Directly after this, we get a cut to the modern-day Raccoon City, almost 30 years after the initial incident, with multiple shots of the ruined city, including the RPD itself, now completely in ruins. We also get some dialogue of presumably Alyssa telling someone that they are her hope, which we can assume from the next line to be a younger Grace. We're then greeted by several visceral scenes of dying or injured characters that we haven't met yet, including another scene with the hooded figure where he seems to be strangling someone. We're also introduced to a very quick potential look at either a potential boss or a new enemy type. We even see what appears to be someone infected turning into what appears to be a zombie. And then we're finally greeted with the title, Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I cannot put into words how excited I am for this game, and while we only know very little about the game, the information that we do know also tells us a lot. And the fact that we're going back to Raccoon City potentially means that we could see the return of recurring characters such as Leon, Jill, or anyone else who was at the heart of the Raccoon City incident. I'm sure we'll see more in the coming months, but for now, that is everything we know about Resident Evil 9 Requiem.